people, welcome to my channel. My name is SHIYELIA in Korea. Today I'm going to talk about how I came to Korea. This topic is some subject that I have been asked by people over and over. Whenever I meet a new person and I tell them I've been in Korea for 11 years, they'll be like, how did you come to Korea? So yeah, I will share my story in this video and then I'll put timestamps too. And yeah, let me just go into the story how I came to Korea. I came to Korea back in 2011, and it was just after my graduation at University of Zimbabwe. I graduated in 2010 October. So that time when I graduated, that's when I was offered a scholarship. I never looked for a scholarship. I was offered a scholarship. You know, just when you graduate, like that time you graduate, you'll be just like, I want to rest and my throat is going dry. Hello, Mr. Lagari. Hi, Kugema. This is I want to say podo. This is a grape juice. Anyway, hi cool gamer. Thank you so much for coming. Hi, Mr. Lagari. How are you? I'm good. Thank you so much. Congratulations for monetization. Thank you so much. You know, it's like a milestone. Like the magic happens just after monetization. I hope my videos will be moving faster. Like, yeah, I hope so. So thank you so much, Mr. Lagari. So I'm going to say my story, like how I came to Korea. So I graduated at University of Zimbabwe in October 2010. So that's when I was like, oh, finally I can rest, and then later on I can start looking for a job. But what happened later, even up to now, is like my own like, how can I say, is my own kind of thing to hold to, like my faith. I feel like I don't have to plan things. God just makes a way. I had planned that I was gonna sleep, I was gonna visit my relatives, because you know my major was very demanding. I never went for holidays because sometimes we had to do some courses over the vacation. So I was like, finally I can rest, I can visit my aunt, my grandmother, my uncles, my whoever. At the verge of planning my things, that's when I was just called. I just received a phone call. People from Zimbabwe, they just know phone calls, usually they come with very good news, like, you know, I just received a call, you know, if you know, I just received a call. So the call was like to ask me if I was interested in studying in Korea. So to my surprise, I was like, yeah, I'm surprised. I'm interested, but I want to know which Korea are you talking about, because we just know on our news in Zimbabwe, mostly we used to see news for North Korea. As I can remember well, I think we used to see a lot of North Korean news and Chinese news. So I was just like, not too sure which Korea are we coming. Am I supposed to come? So they said, oh, South Korea. And then the person just said, yeah, South Korea. So I was like, okay, I mean, I'm for it. He said, okay, you can come tomorrow and sign the scholarship forms, and then you can get rolling. So I went to the university the following morning, and for me, I just thought maybe I was supposed to start applying for scholarship. I didn't know it was really a scholarship form that I was filling, that I was just applying for admission. I already had a scholarship. By the time I was applying, it was just a scholarship that I was just signing for. My assumption was like, oh, maybe we write and then send our documents, and then later they can scan to say they want to enroll us or not. And then after that, then they will say we get the scholarship or not. I wasn't really sure. Even the people who were saying to us, you should fill in the forms, they just explained in that way that just fill in the forms and then we'll send them. All I can say was it was transparent and clear that we were going to study in Korea, me and my colleague. But we were not really sure about the details, because the more we tried to ask them, they were like, okay, just fill in the forms and then we send them to the respective office and then they can send them to Korea. So we did everything, and then when I was just thinking, maybe we'll be accepted or rejected or whatsoever, that's when after 2 weeks we were told, oh, get your passports ready and make sure you apply for visa as soon as possible, because the program already started. That was December. And in December, that time in Zimbabwe, when December approaches, sometimes it's so difficult to process passports. But that time it was 2011. We were lucky. I didn't even have money. So I talked to one of my brothers. And then he just said, oh, come and take money. You can process your passport for one day. I think it was $318 a passport for a day. I see you, Mr. Lagari. Best wishes. Best wishes. So I got money for the passport, and then I went to apply for the passport. And I think the day I got my passport, the same day, few days later, the passport offices in Zimbabwe were closed. They said they didn't have papers, the African problems. They said they were saying they didn't have papers for processing passports. So to my surprise, I was like, wow, God is so wonderful. Like everything just aligned for me. So when my passport was out, we just rushed to the visa. Oh no, we waited for the certificate to arrive so that we go and process visa. It was me and my other colleague. So when we received our passports, we rushed to the embassy. This is when I was like, wow, coming to Korea is so easy. It was so easy. I didn't have too much hassles in terms of visa. We just got to the visa offices, showed our documents for the scholarship and our passports. We didn't even submit too much stuff. And then in few days, within 3 working days, our visa was out, and we were supposed to leave Zimbabwe March 26, I think. So from that time in December, I think we processed our visa first week of January and February. Or it was end of February, because the admission letter and certificates were delayed to be delivered. We don't know, it was just an official thing through the offices. So when we got our documents, that's when we rushed around February 2011. So yeah, but everything happened so fast. I didn't even have time to go and say to my aunts, my grandfathers, my uncles to say, oh, I'm going to leave Zimbabwe for Korea. I didn't even say goodbye to anyone. Like most of my family members, I just called them the week I was leaving and said, I'm going to study in Korea. So, leaving in Zimbabwe just after my graduation, everyone was like, what? Going to study again? African people, they were like, oh, so we thought you were going to get married soon. I was like, wait for me. I mean, like, who expects someone to get married just after graduation? I mean, like, the African people's jokes. Some of them were like, oh, now we are going to study again. So it means no in-law very soon, anytime soon. I was just like, oh, please give me a break. I'm going to study. So that's how I came to Korea. So getting to Korea, like preparing to come to Korea, I was communicating with some Korean lady, a student at my university. Like we were she said she was my buddy, so she was gonna help me with my moving to Korea. She was going to help me with my moving to Korea, like just explaining to me how it is, and even if I get in Korea, she was supposed to take me from the airport to the dormitory. This was really something very well arranged. I can say the buddy program was really well arranged. So she told me about the Korean winter, because I was like to her, how is Korean weather? Because I know Africa is maybe less cold than Asia. She said, oh, it gets really cold. You have to make sure you bring warm stuff and everything. That's when I was like, okay, I just took all the, like me in Zimbabwe, I was one person who didn't like cold. So I took all the turtlenecks, everything, long sleeved kind of t-shirt or stockings, like thick stockings, everything. I just packed it up because I was like, I don't have money. I didn't have enough, like lots of money to spare, because my scholarship was going to be really like just partial. I was going to get 150,000 won, which is around maybe 120 to 130 US dollar. So it wasn't really much those days, like, because other scholarships people were getting around $800 to $1,000 per month. So I was a stranded student, as other people say, like I was a stranded student struggling financially. So that's how I came. But above all, I just enjoyed the Korean language program. When we go to Korea, I have to do step by step until I get to the language school. So we arrived at Incheon airport. I think it was morning or afternoon, and then we had to take a connecting flight to our city where we were going, Daegu. So the connecting flight, I think we had problems that we were supposed to wait again. So we waited and we were asking them, oh, pronunciation. Hey, I won't forget that part. Like we were asking, we want to go to Daegu. Like for Daegu, it's written as Daa. Okay, let me write the spelling for Daegu. It was written like this. Like that's our international airport, Daegu. But we didn't know how to read Korean, so we were saying we want to go to Daegu with all the confidence. So they were like, Daegu. So they were looking at us with strange eyes at the airport. Most of them looked like they didn't understand whatever we were saying. And I was like, we are in for it. These people don't understand English. Hey, we are in trouble. So the good thing is most of them were keen to give us their phones to write on Google Translate. So we tried to say, we want to go to this place. How do we go about it? And then sometimes we were lucky, we find someone who speaks English, and then they just say, what do you want? And then we explain, and then they take us to the right boarding place or something. That's how we managed to leave Incheon airport to to Daegu. We are saying we are going to Daegu. Can you imagine? So when we got to the what is it called, to Daegu, we called, Korea is so efficient when it comes to the calling booths. Even after now, when cell phones are like more popular in all places, you can actually use public phones. So we try to use public phone to just call our buddies that we are in at Daegu airport. So when we called them, they came immediately, like within 30 minutes they came. So me, my buddy came, my friend's buddy also came, because we had bags, so we couldn't take same taxi together. So I took taxi with my buddy, and then when we got to the dormitory, I just stomped into the room with my shoes. She was like, no, remove your shoes. You don't enter into the dorm with shoes. So I was like, I'm cold. It was freezing cold the day we came. Like my first impression was like, how am I going to live or survive in this land? And when I looked out, the trees were all like skeletons. Like in Africa, I know, yes, trees shed leaves in winter, but in Korea, it was just like, whoa, I felt like maybe I can't say I was already depressed because it was like I felt everything was so gloomy. The snow, you could only feel the vibrancy of the place by looking at buildings at night. But if it's daytime, oh my god, you just feel like depressed. Nothing green unless you find those kind of winter plants. I was like, is this place livable? I was asking myself when the text was rolling from the airport to the dormitory, because there was nothing to signify that Korea was really a good place, because it was winter, like winter time, March, end of winter. The trees were not really, the leaves were not yet out. I don't know, I was just asking myself, this place, is it livable? I felt like it was some kind of desert of some sort. Like, I think I was really shocked to just come in a place where it was experiencing winter and coming from summer. So it was really like a great shift, like in terms of my mindset. So somehow with the excitement and anxiety for the language school, I was like, okay, I'll manage. I was telling myself I'll manage. So we got to the dorm. I just enter it with my shoes on, and then she was like, "Oh no, remove your shoes." That was another first culture shocker again. I was like, my feet are cold. She said, no, remove your shoes. So when I removed my shoes, I was like, wow, the floor was very warm in dormitory. And I was like, they put heater in the dormitory floor. Like in Zimbabwe, there was no heater, nothing whatsoever. If it's winter, you just have to layer up and layer up and layer up throughout the winter. But in Korea, I was like, wow, this place is good. Like, I just felt like, wow. So my number one problem was I could feel like I was not going to miss home because of the cold. Definitely, I was just going to enjoy my stay in Korea, because my worst season is winter, and back home they just knew me. If it's cold, even a little bit, I'll just layer up, cover up head to toe. I didn't like cold, any form of cold, through feet, through hands, through my neck. I didn't like cold at all. So yeah, when I came, I was like, wow, this is a great shift. The classes were warm. Wherever you go, when you enter inside the building, it's warmed up with heaters, like the aircon type or just the heater type. Like, I was like, this is a great place to be. So somehow that's how I enjoyed my stay in Korea, like early days when I first came to Korea. I can say, yeah, the way they heated up their facilities made me like Korea. So okay, that's how I came to Korea. And then it was not like I was going to rest from jet lag whatsoever. We were late. Some people were already studying. So the time we reported that we have arrived, they said tomorrow class 9 a.m. So the time we arrived, we went to eat, me and my buddy, we went to eat some beef. Hey, another culture shocker. It had sugar. The beef had sugar. And I was like, what is this? She was like, she explained to me all the meals, and then she said, I think since you're coming from Zimbabwe, the only meal you can actually enjoy is meat kind of meal, because you say you eat meat. I said yes. So when I was eating, I was like, oh my god, there's sugar. It's sweet. She said yes, it's sweet. I felt full. You know, I used to put sugar in tea. I used to put actually 2 tablespoons in one mug of tea or coffee. But from the encounter of eating meat with sugar, I was like, oh my god, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong place. How to eat meat with sugar? So I was shocked. So from then I realized I stopped eating added sugar in tea. I felt my taste buds were really cheated. Like I just was like I was robbed of my sense of taste. Like, when you expect to taste salt, and then the taste comes as sugar, and it's even meat. Can you imagine? So yeah, so I was really shocked. Even after now, when I try to remember, the taste was so bad. So anyway, days moved. That day I managed to eat because I was hungry. I was really hungry, so I just ate to fill my stomach. So next day we went to the class. It was me and my colleague and another guy from Nigeria and another student from another country also who came late. I think we were 4 or 5 people in our own class. So we had our special teacher who was going to teach us the alphabet, the Korean characters, and we did that for almost like 2 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, and then later on we joined other students. But our experience was really bad. Like, for me, I didn't even know any Korean before I came to Korea. Like, I just was reading something I printed online, the Anyong Haseyo. Hey. And the teachers never said any English word. And I was like, how do they train these people to just teach us in pure Korean? And I remember a few months ago when one student came from Zimbabwe, she was calling me and sending me messages. Oh, they are teaching us Korean in Korean. How can I understand? I said, that's how I did it. You better open your mind and just try to keep listening to Korean until you can understand. It was not easy at all. Just going to a class, the teacher will be speaking Korean from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And she will just say, if she say 안녕하세요, she say you also do that. And then we follow her bit by bit. We do the alphabet, everything. She would do it, say it, and then she will say repeat by sign language, kind of, to say. He would say in Korean, just like follow me in Korean, and she would just demonstrate to say repeat after me in Korean, and we were just playing like. It was not easy. It was not easy at all. So anyway, I think my stay was for the first week. I was excited to see many international students, and since I know at University of Zimbabwe you see international students, but there were not as many as students at language school in Korea. Wow, students were so many. I was shocked to see people from all Asian countries, and most students from almost like more than 30 African countries. Like, I felt so international, like, like I was representing Zimbabwe from that day up to now. Whenever I meet people, who are you? I'm SHIYELIA. From where? Zimbabwe. Oh my God. So from then up to now, just like I just put Zimbabwean flag on my face. They were like, oh, from Zimbabwe. Then I say yes. So from then up to now, I can say my journey was really good. I don't regret, though sometimes I say that I regret why I came to Korea, but I don't regret going to language school, because for now, because I know Korean, I have many advantages. If I want to look for a job in a company, if I want to look for a job anywhere, they actually take me because of my Korean proficiency. So I may regret other things, like as I've said in my previous videos that I will put in the links below. I may say I regret some choices that I made, but I don't regret the ability to speak Korean, like I don't regret at all. Though, yeah, I have my own experiences that I'll explain further. So today I think I've said all I wanted to say about how I came to Korea. So in the next videos, I will talk about how it was in language school, in preparation to the videos that I'll prepare in August. In August, I plan to talk more about scholarships, the whole of August. I will be talking about scholarships in live streams, scholarships in videos, scholarships. I'll be posting scholarships information in my community tab the whole of August. So now, thank you, sister. I see you. Thank you. So now to August. I think next week, the whole of next week, I'll just talk about how I came to Korea, how I settled down, and then August, from 1 August to the end of month day of August, I'll be talking only about scholarships, because I have to raise this awareness about Korean scholarships. There are lots of opportunities to study in Korea, but people always miss the application period. And sometimes even me, I sometimes forget to remind people to apply, but scholarships are there. Like last week, there was one scholarship I saw when it was 2 days to closing date, and I was like, how did I forget about this type of scholarship? So every time I try to write down such scholarships and mark them again, same time next year, that scholarship opens again. So students or anyone interested in coming to Korea, you have siblings or family members, yeah, please share the links when I post in the community tabs. I know if you share through WhatsApp, people can actually even join my Facebook page or Facebook group, so that they can keep updated and even plan ahead by watching previous posts about scholarships and write down the application dates. They don't really change. It's actually next time it will be September, October. That's when all applications like the Korea Government Scholarship, KOICA, and other scholarships open. So I really have to do this August, and then I will know every year, August, September, I talk about scholarships. And next year, also another application period, I do the same, so that people know that there is routine scholarships in Korea. Even if I don't do video, they will just watch any video I post to know that it's application timeline period. So yeah, that's what I have for the upcoming videos. And my membership tab hey, my membership tab is open. Good people, I'm so happy. And so the juicy part and other explicit information, like I'm referring to some things that I can't expose because of some privacy issues, but actually, if you're my member, some of my personal experience I would rather prefer to share to my members, like explicitly. I know even if you are not a member, you won't miss much, but if you join, definitely you actually understand when I say some things. Anyway, we enter through ads these days. Hey guys, hey host. Thank you, Sister Elizabeth. I came late today. It's okay, sister, no worries. So next month I will talk about scholarships. So yeah, thank you everyone. And as soon as I gain my members, I will start doing videos for members only, live streams for members only. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for now, I have to keep pushing, because I have to drive out the message about scholarships. People always ask me about scholarships when deadlines are over, and that has to end now. People have to ask for scholarship and apply for them the right time, and they don't miss the application period. So that all being said, let's shout out to Kugema. Thank you so much for joining. Major shout out to Mr. Lagari. Thank you, Mr. Lagari. Oh, Mr. Lagari said he's still behind the milestone. Good luck, Mr. Lagari. Push and push and push. Very soon it will be done. And major shout out to Sister Elizabeth. Thank you so much. And I wish you all a good weekend. For me, I have to make my timestamps ready and draw out the video and prepare for next week videos. Yeah, I'll schedule some of my videos or my live streams so that people know that I'm going to go live. So thank you so much for watching. Check you in my next video. Ciao, ciao, good people.